Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to TED Talks Ball. Got a special Friday afternoon edition, a Super Bowl hangover edition. Got Anshul from at 49er Media. You can find him there on Twitter and YouTube. His YouTube link to his YouTube page is in the description of the show. Happy Faithful Friday to you, Anshul. How you doing?
Doing all right. Starting to get over, this hiatus of disappointment, yet again. 0-3 in my lifetime. So, yeah, but I guess, ready for the off season now.
Yeah, it's interesting because back in the 80s and 90s, I just expected that we would win every time we went to the Super Bowl, 5-0 in 81, 88, 89, or 81, 84, 88, 89, and 94. And now we're 0-3 in 2012, 2019, and 2023. So starting to expect that we'll just lose every time if we go again. Starting to feel like Kyle's a Super Bowl choker until proven otherwise. I don't hold the Falcons completely against him because he wasn't the head coach. Just like he overruled Steve Wilkes some in this Super Bowl. Dan Quinn could have or should have overruled him if he didn't like what Kyle was calling in that Super Bowl. I always say head coach gets the glory, so head coach gets the blame. Never ever heard of an offensive coordinator blamed for a Super Bowl loss before or since. But that's the narrative out there, floating around out there about Kyle. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm happy about Kyle, but I'm also not like a fire Kyle person. I haven't been. I got a little upset with them last off season, obviously,
Yeah.
but never said fire Kyle. And what he did this season kind of absolved him of a lot of my anger. So, I guess you just got to look at like Andy Reid. As far as Andy was Kyle before Kyle passed on Mahomes. Maybe Brock can be Kyle's Mahomes. He's not as good as Mahomes, obviously, and probably never will be, but he can be good enough that Kyle could win a few Super Bowls with him if we can keep the roster together for a little while.
Yeah, definitely disappointing. And I mean, just like you were so close to. Um, But yeah, I mean, now we're gonna see who the new defensive coordinator is too. What's up, David McNiner? Um, but yeah, it's just I don't know, dude, what to get this team over the hump now. Like I think offensive line is I think a big priority this offseason. I don't know. What do you think about that?
It should be. It should have been. I've been calling for it for years, but will it be? I don't know. Kyle just doesn't seem to make it a priority. Um, other than left tackle. And even then, we got a great deal on Trent Williams. So I don't know if he was even willing to spend for that if we had to. So yeah, offensive line should be an area of focus. Cornerback should be an area of focus. Linebacker should be an area of focus. Maybe safety too, just to give us some more depth because
Yeah, they're definitely going to need more depth at safety because, I mean, I expect Gibson to probably retire. I mean, George Odom's really just special teams guy. I love the tandem of what Jair Brown and Hufanga can be 100%. I mean, cornerback, yeah, I feel like you kind of have to draft a guy every year, and they definitely still could use another cornerback, have Lenore in the slot, like I expect a guy like Isaiah Oliver to get cut this offseason because I mean he was the guy that Wilkes brought in and he said, oh, he's the best slot corner, and yet he was on the sideline for pretty much the whole year.
and the
Um,
defense got better when he went to the sideline too. So
yeah,
yeah.
and hey, the defensive line's gonna have a lot of turnover too this off season with the depth and who's going to be across from Nick Bosa. So I feel like this was the year that they had to win it because even next year that they have guys that they're going to have to think about Banks, Hufanga, Lenore.
And no more Adam Peters.
Yep. Yeah, that too. We're gonna find out really, who does the drafting, in those late rounds, because everybody kind of has been saying it's Peters. So yeah.
Sentinels football channel in the house. Make sure you check out his channel. Says if Kyle brings in Staley, I'm boycotting. No games, no merch, nothing. Hit Jed where it hurts. His pocketbook. That's when the owners wake up. Yeah, I call it voting with your wallet. Makes sense, but I'm not going to just absolutely say if he brings in Brandon Staley. I don't know. I feel like Brandon Staley. Let's start with this. Brandon Staley is not my top choice for defensive
Mhm.
coordinator. My top choice is Mike Vrabel. I really don't want Bill Belichick, and I don't even know that he would be available just to be just a defensive coordinator.
Mhm.
As far as Brandon Staley might be third on the list. The thing about Brandon Staley is I think a lot of people are giving him, a bad rap because he's a bad head coach.
Mhm.
But he was a really good defensive coordinator for the Rams. That's why he got hired to be a head coach. And so I think it happens all the time where guys, they start out as a DC, they get to be a head coach, and then it doesn't work out, and they go back to be a defensive coordinator again. Just like at Jim Schwartz for the Browns, that's exactly what he did, where he got to be the head coach of the Lions, didn't work out, and now he's back to being one of the best defensive coordinators going, at least when it comes to head versus Kyle, anyway. But yeah, I mean, I fully agree with vote with your wallet. I just hope you have a big wallet, Sentinel, and that you boycotting will really make him hurt, because it'd be a shame if you stopped buying stuff and nobody else did, and Jed didn't get the message. But no, I'm just messing with you. Look, do whatever makes you happy, and I have no problem with boycotting. I think people say, "Oh, you're not a real fan if you don't do whatever." I'm like, real fans want the best for their team, and if you're buying or not buying merchandise can help with the team to be better, then don't buy it. I nearly vomited at the idea of bringing in that bum. Anyway, like I said, I mean, he is a bum of a head coach, but
Yeah.
he's a pretty good DC. At least I thought he was. I mean, maybe the Rams were pretty loaded too. Let's keep it real. I mean, they did have Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and Leonard Floyd all on that one
I
defensive line.
mean, Niners don't have no fluky defensive line either, right? So
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey.
I think it could work out, but like you said, yeah, it's not my top choice. I think, I was kind of a few days ago, I wasn't really sure, but then after kind of just listening to what other people have been kind of saying, I mean, I think Belichick is my number one choice, like now thinking about it, but I just don't think it happens because he clearly wants to be a head coach. And I think the only way you get him is like if you just blow him out, maybe with the money. So I think, yeah, Vrabel probably would be, the next probably best choice because I mean at this point in the cycle, there's no one really available out there, because you're just coming off of a Super Bowl. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting. Now the one guy I don't wanna I just not a fan because especially what happened, with Steve Wilkes. He's really a DB's type of guy. I wouldn't really want to have. Is it Daniel Bullock's the DB's coach for the Niners? If they're going internally, that's not my first choice. I would leave him at DB coach. If they're going internally, they've had success with these linebacker coaches. Um, maybe go try to make our linebacker coach, the DC. Maybe that's a choice. What do you think about that, Ted?
I'm not wild about the internal option, but I mean, I guess I see the point where the defense wants to run their defense, and anyone you bring in from the outside is likely to want to run a different scheme. And
Hmm.
when you've got such big leaders like Armstead and Fred, even Bosa, it's tough to just not listen to what they want. And I think an internal person would listen more. So I could sort of see that. James Renal says, Sentinel says no more puppet hires or fall guy hires. I think Rohan Chakravarti asked why people thought that Wilkes was a scapegoat. And I said, well, because he was at Arizona, the Browns, and the Panthers. But I honestly don't think he was a scapegoat firing. I think that uh, there were philosophical differences.
Yep.
It bothered me the way he kept reverting to that quasi prevent defense and
Dude, I
seemed
know,
anxious to
same. I
punt.
was like at halftime or in your end of games, like or end of first halves, like he would always just go into this prevent defense and then the all-out blitz, and that's what he was gonna do again in the Super Bowl until caution and like, okay, I need to take a timeout and tell Wilkes what to do. I just think at the end of the day, it's just from the beginning, it just didn't fit well. Um, he was a DB's coach. I mean, this was his 21st job.
Yeah.
Like he's been around fired
Yeah.
so many times with different teams, and I just think, internally might be better or someone that Kyle has already a connection with if it's externally, because he does have connection with a guy like Bill Belichick. So I just, the philosophy needs to be same because I think they tried it this year and it didn't work out. Um, there are just too many differences between what they wanted, and you saw the defensive line not be as productive, very inconsistent at times. 20th ranked in run defense after you were number 2 ranked with D'Amico Ryans, and you didn't even change that much of this defense. Hargrave was really the only main starting guy that you had, and it didn't end up working out. So I wouldn't say Steve Wilkes was a scapegoat, because even like a scapegoat is if there's a head coach, let's say, that's on the line of getting their job taken, they're on the line of possibly getting fired, and they use the another coach on the team as the reason of why they didn't do as well. They weren't successful, and that person should be fired. That's not what's happening here. We all know Kyle isn't on the hot seat. I mean, he just got an extension.
Yeah. Before the season started, he and Lynch both did. Absolutely. Uh, Sentinel feels like Belichick would win us a Super Bowl. Stop dreaming for Bill not happening. Bill too much ego to be a DC. That's sort of my thought. I just don't think it's happening. And I honestly don't know how much he has left in the tank either at 70 plus.
Yeah.
But I guess we just need 1 year maybe. So
Mhm.
Lenore and Thomas not good at man coverage. I know Ambry Thomas isn't. Lenore isn't either. I don't know. I don't know about that. I feel like Lenore's gotten pretty good, but I'm not an expert on his man capabilities, so maybe I'm wrong. Great one, 765 in the house. What it do, Ted? It's been a while. It has been a while. Great one. Great to see you. Absolutely. Jesus, I spoke with a Patriots fan. I trust Bill B would take a DC role. Oh, interesting. Well, Sentinel's got sauces. Was just saying hi. Wilkes wasn't a fall guy. He just wasn't very good with our D line. He worked wonders with the DBs. But we are built from the D line back. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say he wasn't good with our D line. I just say his scheme wasn't good for our D line, where you got to have tight coverage to give the D line time to get home. And if you're just able to pick our DBs apart with quick underneath throws, then the defense, the line doesn't have time,
Mhm.
to get home, to get pressures and to get sacks. So
And I mean, a lot of teams now are trying to throw the ball a lot quicker too, because they know what this 49ers defensive line, is able to do.
absolutely.
I think it's Johnny Holland is the linebackers coach, and then
That's right.
Daniel Bullocks is the DBs coach. But
That sounds right to me. I know Johnny Holland is linebackers.
yeah,
I didn't remember the DBs. Well, but the thing is, great one is that Kyle was involved in the defense heavily for the Super Bowl. So
yeah,
what you saw wasn't just Wilkes, and him being fired wasn't just over the Super Bowl. It was the Lions game. It was the Packers game. It was a lot of games in the second half of the season. The defense wasn't great. It just really was a lot of where the defense was really good was just our run defense was hidden by the fact that we had these big leads, so no one could really run the ball on us. That
yeah.
to find out how bad our run defense was. So I understand your sentiment for sure. Like you look at how little Mahomes scored against us in the Super Bowl, but if you look at how little Mahomes scored most of the season, it wasn't anything special what our defense did. I think he was averaging 22 points a game and, scored 19 in regulation against us. So, a smidge better, a field goal better, but that's not anything. With our defense, should have been a lot bigger difference than one field goal below his average. So, with our defensive talent, I guess I should say.
Mhm.
Kyle is on the hot seat by fans. We'll push ownership to fire Kyle. I don't think he's on the hot seat.
Yeah, I don't. I know a lot of fans are like gonna obviously blame him because he's the head coach, but he's not getting fired.
He's they just extended him. So he's got at least 1 year before he's on the hot seat, I would say. I would say maybe 1 to 2.
Mhm.
Jesus says Niners D line is overrated. Yeah, overrated and overpaid is what I've been saying for a while.
I've even said it throughout this week. I'm just like, they spend so much money on the defensive line, yet they're not spending the resources on the offensive line. Because even in 2019, they were so cheap on the offensive line.
Yeah, you had Staley, who was good, and they did trade, I believe, or sign. Who was the center we got from the Giants?
Was it Richburg? But I thought he was
Yeah,
hurt
Weston
that.
Richburg.
But I thought he was hurt that year, so I thought we had like the backup guy.
Yeah, then Garland came in
Yeah.
to replace Richburg. Weston Richburg we got from the Giants a year or two before 2019. It's 2018, I think we got
Yeah.
Richburg.
So tackles was Staley and McGlinchey, and
Yeah.
then
So we
and,
invested in McGlinchey, number 9
yeah,
overall pick.
yeah, and
Staley
then
we paid
who was
well.
I
But we
forget
had Mike
Pierce.
Person
Yeah,
uh,
Mike Person.
as a
Yeah.
right guard, and we had I'm blanking on his name now. The left
Lakin.
Lakin Tomlinson, thank you, the left guard, who we got from the Lions for a
Mhm.
5th-round pick. And he was always a real good run blocker, but always a real liability in pass blocking,
Yeah.
which is kind of the
But
history for
again,
the
like
49ers
the
line.
left side was the better side, and they've invested in the left side, but still the right side has been the issues.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really hoping we draft a tackle and a guard in this
Same.
draft.
And it's supposed to be deep too, especially the tackle class from what I've been hearing.
That would be huge for sure. Niners were best when they had depth to keep guys fresh. Yeah, when you're paying
Yep.
these big mega contracts like we are to Fred, Debo, Trent, Juice,
Kittle.
Kittle, then it doesn't leave a lot of room for depth. Kind of like the Rams were the last couple of years before they won the Super Bowl. They were very top heavy as well. And it showed in the Super Bowl, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Dre Greenlaw goes down, Oren Burks and DFF are just not in the same stratosphere.
That's why, we need to play our rookies because that way, D winners or Jalen Graham, they have the experience, and then it's like, if you need them in a big game like this, you can put him. And the thing is, you knew he was dealing with an Achilles injury for weeks. You could tell that he was gonna be on his last Like, again, unfortunately, it hit you right in the Super Bowl. But yeah, they were limiting him and stuff. But it's still like Kyle, you gotta play your young guys, man.
Absolutely. You can see how rookies made big contributions on like the Chiefs last year, where Pacheco was a rookie in the Super Bowl, and the
Rasheed
Chiefs
Rice.
this year, Rasheed Rice,
Yep.
their Watson receiver had a big game. He's not a rookie anymore, but he's still young.
Hmm.
Great one says Niners 7th in sacks. How does Wilkes not go with the D line? Well, great one. Who had a higher salary cap hit than the Niners D line? I don't think any D line did once we signed Bosa. So it's 7th versus the most expensive D line.
And just
So
like a lot of blitzing was happening too with this line, and it's like that hasn't been what they did with Sala and D'Amico, and they were never a heavy blitzing team.
no, absolutely not. Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, Kyle Shanahan, Bill Belichick, who wins? Guy has a 2-0 postseason record against Reid, or the guy who keeps shutting Kyle down? I mean, ultimately, I think that some of the personnel stuff might be more important than the coaches as far as drafting the right corner and O line. But I don't know, Sentinel. I think you're thinking of prime Belichick. I just don't know that he's that good anymore.
Yeah.
But maybe he is. Maybe on the defensive side. I mean, that's definitely always his strength, was on the defensive side. So if anything's gonna linger on for a long time, that's the more likely one. Clearly, his GM skills have gone by the wayside. He was never good at picking wide receivers, that's for sure. I mean, the Niners defense was best when we kept the D line fresh. Yeah, like in 2019 when we had Ronnie Blair and DJ Jones and Julian Taylor as our D line depth. Then they all got injured in the second half of the season, and the defense struggled. Not just them, but Jaquiski Tart got injured too, and there was our defense definitely dropped off in the second half of 2018. A lot of it was D-line depth, and a lot of what we missed in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs in the first time was our D-line depth. Speaking of D-line depth, I've been saying I wouldn't be shocked if we find a way to sign Javon Kinlaw.
Yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be tough. Like, they're so salary capped, and at some point you don't want to keep putting down the money, in the future years, because they've already restructured guys like Trent Williams, Eric Armstead, Travis Ward, Kittle, Warner, all the big guys. I mean, they probably will restructure Debo if I had to
Mm-hmm.
guess next, but it's definitely gonna be tough. So I trust Kyle Shanahan, or John Lynch and Parag Marathe, to figure it out. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. I wouldn't be surprised, if one of these guys that we have, is gone possibly, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the rest of the depth is. I think Chase Young will be gone.
Yep.
Randy Gregory will be gone. Clelin Ferrell, I think we'll find a way to keep him because I think he'll be cheap. And if Kinlaw would do a cheap prove it deal, then I think we might see him. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle thought Brady was washed.
I mean, he tried to get Brady. What was it, last year?
Yeah, but he meant before Brady went to.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, but a lot of people thought that. There was a poll on Niners Twitter asking who they wanted, Brady or Jimmy G, and 80% said Jimmy G. So yeah, there are a lot of us were fooled. I was one of them. I'll admit it. I thought Brady was washed. I don't know. I just, Bill Belichick, like I said, he just came from being head coach and GM.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he's going to do better with a GM that he can't control, that isn't necessarily going to draft his guys for his defense. I don't know. It just seems like a stretch, but I understand why people like the thought of him. like I said, I guess he's second on my list after Vrabel. I'm not wild about the internal options. I know Kocurek doesn't want to be a GM, DC, excuse me.
Yeah, because he said it in the past too that like
And people are talking about
yeah,
Sherm, but
some
I'm
pressure.
like, let's let Sherm be a DB coach first before he's a DC that plays.
Mm,
I think you leverage his strengths, let him get to know the defensive side a little bit better. Um, from a coaching perspective, I think there's still a lot to learn on his end, and he's probably pretty happy with his cushy Amazon Prime gig. But we'll see, and not just that, but also all his work he does with like, well, on the shows he's on, which was he with Skip? Is that who he's with now? Pardon the interrupt. I forgot who he's with, but he's doing good stuff. I love that he's a big Niner backer now, which is so crazy after all the back and forth we went through with him.
Yep.
Joey Ardano in the house. What's up, Joey? Says also
Joey.
D-line isn't just sacks, it's getting gashed in the run game.
Yep.
Absolutely. That's because Armstead missed 6 games. Yeah. And Armstead was playing with a torn meniscus even when he came back. So that's part of it.
Yep. Shout out to Javon Hargrave and Armstead for both playing with injuries.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I don't really know if we're gonna actually be able to bring back Kinlaw, because like I know the Texans, for instance, they have some pretty solid free agents that were like for them this year. And I know they have a lot of cap space, but I wouldn't be surprised if D'Amico took some of our guys like Aziz Al-Shair. I know he's a free agent, and a lot of Niner fans are saying, "Oh, bring him back," because obviously Greenlaw's gonna miss the whole year. But Aziz Al-Shair had a really good year, and I don't see him coming back to the Niners. I think he's gonna go to the Texans.
I would love to get Aziz back, but yeah, he'll probably be too expensive, I would imagine. And honestly, when I looked up 2024 inside linebacker free agents, he wasn't listed. So I don't know. I know people have been talking about him, but
Sometimes it's just like weird how different sources will
yeah, I mean, I'm
list
not saying it
linebackers, but
absolutely. I'm just saying
yeah, yeah.
on the whatever, I don't even remember which website I was on. I just Googled it and that's what came up. Give me 1 second. I have a coffee. I'm gonna go grab it. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, but Jesus talking about DJ Jones. I was just checking DJ Jones. I mean, he's not a free agent. He has an out that they possibly could be getting out of. So we'd have to see. I mean, there is a chance that they do end up doing that because they didn't have a great season. They are expected to be getting rid of Russell Wilson, but I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening with he if he does end up getting cut. Man, I would love for the Niners to be able to bring him in. He was just a really solid depth guy, and I think that can also help guys like Armstead and Hargrave. If you're able to actually have guys behind them, and rotate guys, these guys are going to be more fresh. And that's why I think even Ted was fighting for this during the last offseason that, go sign, Ngakwe, go sign some of these other guys because you need to have a fresh rotation. And we've seen how successful the Niners have, done when they are able to rotate these defensive linemen. So I hope that they're able to do that again this year because Ibu Cam and Amenuhu, man, they were big losses, just not in the pass rush but also in the run defense.
Yeah, Ngakwe's name came up a lot last offseason for sure. But any of those, kind of older depth pieces, edge pieces, seemed like it made sense. I had high hopes for Cleveland Farrell, but these Kocurek reclamation projects seem to be slowing down a little bit. It was like Arden Key was huge, Amenahue was huge, Ebicom was pretty good, and then Cleveland Farrell, Randy Gregory, Chase Young. Not a huge jump once they got here, the way those other guys did. So, yeah, good luck to Chase Young in the open market, but I'm pretty sure he's gone. Shardal Gupta in the house saying hi, Ted. Hi, Anshaw. How are you doing? Better now that you're here, Shardal. Thanks for joining. What else should we chat about? I mean, so we kind of are in agreement that Wilkes wasn't a scapegoat then, basically. Like there was stuff
Yeah.
going on all
Yeah,
season.
because Kyle wasn't on the hot seat, and it's not like he used to Wilkes to,
Save himself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's tough though, because I'm just like I don't know who you'd replace him because again, just the cycle. This is way at the end, unfortunately. So, um, and I mean they're not gonna have much time because free agency starts also in less than a month. So I would expect that probably maybe even by next week or the week after we probably find out who Kyle ends up hiring as DC.
I'm just gonna check the inside linebackers. So I was on Spot Track.
Okay, that's what I used too.
Maybe it was just further down, and that's why I didn't see him. But yeah, he's not on the top 23 of. So yeah, I don't know. Or maybe they just missed him, or maybe they have him listed as a outside linebacker. Maybe let's try that.
Okay, yeah, they just have him listed as a linebacker, but he's not like super down. But yeah, I'm able to see him on there.
So just linebacker in general. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there he is.
Yep.
5 million. He's gonna make a lot more than 5 mil. That's for sure.
What did you think about that DJ Jones comment? Because I was saying I was just checking. He's actually not a free agent, but there is like an out in his contract this year, and I mean, if the Broncos could be going, totally different direction because it seems like they are going to be getting rid of Russell Wilson. So maybe they get rid of DJ Jones. And I was saying if they did, I would love to bring him back. But what do you think about that?
If we're having trouble affording Kinlaw, won't we have more trouble affording DJ Jones?
Yeah.
He's on a pretty big deal, if I recall correctly. What was it, like 10 mil a year? 12?
10.
10. Which isn't terrible.
If he would be
happy standing still, but he may want a raise too.
Yeah. Okay, no, never mind. He played a good amount of games these past 2 seasons, yeah.
It says Robert Saleh may be fired mid-year, so maybe an option during the season. Yeah. It's possible, but you want your DC.
Yeah, and you don't want to rely on
OTAs and camp and
yeah,
preseason and however many games into the season before Robert Saleh. And he may not get fired. That's the other thing. The Jets seem to have made a good commitment to him. And I think if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy and they struggle, I could see Saleh getting fired. But if Aaron Rodgers gets injured again, or if Aaron Rodgers plays well and they do well, then he probably won't get fired. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you never would rely on, this guy's gonna get fired. This guy maybe gets fired. You just have to make your decision.
No doubt about it. As far as other areas of need, should we look at 2024 cornerback free agents?
Yeah, Let's see. I mean, John Lynch was apparently looking for corners in the, in the trade market. So will he maybe, end up signing another guy? Like, especially if they're gonna now put Lenore in the slot, they are gonna need another, corner.
Yes, I mean we need to replace Ambry Thomas for sure.
Yeah.
So Adoree Jackson, Kendall Fuller, Stephon Gilmore. It's funny that Michael Hyde in here, Micah Hyde, but he's clearly a safety for the Bills.
Yeah.
Michael Davis for the Chargers. Jeff Okuda. Wow, what a crazy story he was for the
Yeah.
Detroit Lions. I mean, drafted so high, and he just really has never really gotten it done.
Yeah. The guy I like on this list, and he's a veteran, is Steven Nelson.
Yeah, he's been
I'm
good.
not really. That's kind of the only guy that, and maybe Kenny Moore. Like, if they did want to keep Lenore on the outside, Kenny Moore could actually be a good option because I think he can play the slot. So, if they wanted to do that, I wouldn't mind that. I mean, bringing back Emmanuel Mosley maybe, but like
Oof.
But also, yeah, he's always
Two
hurt.
ACLs on the same knee
Yeah,
too.
yeah, so
That's
maybe
tough.
not. So yeah, I don't really know if maybe a Woozier, but yeah, I'm not liking the options too much.
I mean, Jalen Johnson, but chances are he'll be a Bear.
Well, not only that, he wants to get paid.
Yeah, and he deserves it.
Yeah, and he deserves it, but I don't see the Niners being able to do that. So
And as far as the inside linebackers, I noticed that both of the linebackers for the Bucks were on there. Levante David and Devin White are both free agents. Thought that was interesting. Bobby Wagner, not that I want him, but it's just interesting that
yeah.
he's
Denzel Pearman, I mean, he had a pretty good year though, I think. So
Yeah, I
that
think
might be
Aziz
outside of
Al-Shire would be the nicest one, but
yeah.
I doubt we can afford him.
So yeah, there's not really guys I like from the cornerback, or I mean the inside linebackers.
Bob Money says Kyle is a choker. Until proven otherwise, what else can you say?
Nope. It's like he made the same mistakes too, though. Like, where just he stopped running the football, just went away from what's was working.
That and didn't invest in offensive line.
Yep.
Well, hopefully, eventually he learns from his mistakes because so far it doesn't seem like he has. I don't know what else to do about that, but like I said, you have to admit there's a problem first before you can fix it. So that's the first step, absolutely. Let's look at offensive tackle.
Like Tyron Smith, I think is a
Oof.
free agent. Like the more right tackle, Trenton Brown, Jonah Williams,
Trent Brown.
They're all meh.
Yeah.
I just think also with the money that the 49ers have right now, even though I know they're probably going to make, they have to obviously get under the cap. So there'll be some other moves, but I think the draft might, be the best choice because at least you'll have them for a few years.
Nick Allegretti for the Chiefs as a free agent. He sure filled in well for them.
Mhm.
Graham
Oh yeah, I wanted
Glasgow.
to ask you, do you know anything about the new assistant offensive line coach and how did you feel about it?
Um, I don't. Just he looked like a young guy from the picture. Um, and he was coming. I forget from what team now, but from a team.
Raiders.
Yeah, I feel like the Raiders have done a good job with their O line. Without like I felt like it was the O line was a huge deal for them not too long ago, and I feel like they revamped their O line without a lot of real high draft picks.
Mm.
So if he knows how to do that, then great. Yeah, I mean, I feel good about what the Raiders did vis-a-vis their draft capital on their O line. I felt like their O line was pretty good when we played them in the scrimmages last off season. When we did our joint practices before the preseason game against the Raiders.
Also, speaking of the Raiders, did you see what ended up coming out today?
Oh, Jimmy G busted for PEDs.
That's such a Raiders thing to do, though.
That boy should ask for a refund because he got gypped. They sold him some
He would have still gotten cut, though.
snake oil. What's that?
They would still have been cut. Like they're expected to release him, and he still would have gotten released even if he didn't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. He was one of the worst for. He was the worst for interceptions for however long he played, and um, one of the worst also for not throwing touchdowns. So you can live with the interceptions if you're just bombing TDs left and right. But if you're throwing interceptions and not throwing TDs, that combination is pretty deadly. So I'd say sad to see it, but it warms my heart. I gotta say I'm not a big Jimmy G fan.
Yeah,
So
no, me too.
especially with the things he said when he left, trying to basically say that things are weird here in San Francisco. It's like,
No.
Yes. I mean, we're not winning rings. I'll give him that, but we are contending every year. We're right there, NFC Championship or Super Bowl every year that we're healthy. So you could do a lot worse in this league, and that's what I would just say to all the Fire Kyle people. He's flawed for now, but there's a chance he can learn, and I just can't think of anybody better that I'd rather have. The other thing too is like if you want to fire Kyle, great. And you're going to bring in some other offensive coordinator. Okay. What are the chances that they're going to run a system that's as conducive to Brock Purdy's skill set as what Kyle has? I think slim and none that you can really improve on that system for him. I think it's an ideal fit for Brock Purdy, and anything else would probably be a step back.
I agree.
Was it Viagra really? Oh my god.
They did, I think, say it was some like medical things. So maybe it was.
Wow. Well, maybe it did work then. Who knows?
Yeah, they said it was a prescribed medication without having a valid like user for exemption or whatever.
Oh, that's funny. He's a little young to be needing the blue pills, but hey.
Yep.
All chiming in, Kyle's a choker. Yeah, I think you're not gonna get any argument here about that.
Yep. I mean, there's nothing to back it up. So,
what else is going on in the news? Obviously, there's everything around like how do we fix all the problems that we have in the draft essentially, and especially with Kyle where he just doesn't let rookies play.
yeah, exactly.
think that's gonna have to change
But
here soon.
maybe he'll finally be like, okay, John Lynch and Paramount are being like, okay, this is what we can do with the salary cap. But I mean, he obviously knows too how much crazy amount these guys are getting paid. So I hope he does end up playing these rookies now because he's gonna have to.
I saw a tweet that Jamal Adams might be cut by the Seattle Seahawks.
Blitz boy, I mean, whatever.
Would you want him for a cheap price?
No.
No matter what, Anshul's out.
Please keep that guy away from the Niners. And we also don't need him. Like,
Well, you just said we need safety depth.
yeah, not him though. No.
No, because he gets injured like at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
There was all that stuff, obviously, about the Chiefs having the most holds in the regular season, and then none called in the Super Bowl, which is always
Yeah.
frustrating.
I mean, it is what you expect when you have the same crew as the last Super Bowl the Niners were in.
So only 3 active QBs have multiple Super Bowl rings. Do you know the 3?
Wait, so you're saying 3 active quarterbacks have a Super Bowl ring right now?
Multiple Super Bowl rings,
Oh,
so 2 or
multiple.
more.
Okay, obviously Mahomes.
Mahomes, yeah.
Baker? No, 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 no,
Nope.
no.
Baker doesn't have any.
Yeah, no. Let's see. Hmm.
One of them we were just talking about.
Oh, Jimmy G.
Yeah. And then the next one's even harder because he's even more obscure. Blake Bortles.
He does?
That's what it says in this meme anyway. Fox Sports
Hmm.
NFL posted it up. So
Interesting.
yeah. Oh no, not Bortles. I'm sorry, Blaine Gabbert.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, that
He got
makes
one
sense.
with the Chiefs. He got one with the Bucks.
Yeah,
So
okay. Yep.
sorry, not. I saw the B and I
All good.
invented the rest. Pretty crazy. When do you think Dre Greenlaw might be back next season?
I don't even know if he will be next season. Like the good thing is he's younger than like a guy like Aaron Rodgers, so I mean that definitely helps him to be able to be back. But it's usually what I think a 9-month recovery. So I just don't see him being back. Because if you think about it, even if he comes back like week like 10 or even onwards, it's like he has to get going. Like it's not like okay, he's not injured anymore, so he can be back. Like, he has to make sure he's conditioned well in good shape so that he doesn't re-injure himself or have other injuries and then, having to get into game shape, being able to get, back to having contact. Like I just don't see him playing at all next year. So it's gonna be big on Jalen Graham and D Winters.
No doubt. Hopefully they can step up. Did you see where Robert Griffin III was saying that Brock Purdy was the best QB in the NFL this season?
No, I didn't. Honestly, I try not to go to the media. It's up
But you're
to John
49er
Jones.
media. No, I'm kidding. I get it. Especially people like him, where you're like, oh, are you doing this just for clicks? I don't know.
Dude, I still can't believe the Cam Newton take, dude.
So some other free agents,
Mhm.
notable free agents, Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed.
Yep.
Think we might get either of them.
Maybe L'Jarius Sneed, but I kind of doubt it. Just a man, imagine Charvarius Ward and him, but I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be pretty funny to have 2 ex-Chief corners. Crazy. It just shows how good they are at drafting and developing.
See who else
cornerbacks.
is available. Yeah. Like I said, if they wanted to go with another slot guy and just stick with Diamardo Lenore, which I wouldn't be fine with, I'd be fine with a guy like Kenny Moore.
There you go.
Give him like a 2-year deal or even a 1-year deal, and Yeah.
See what the defensive tackle tracker looks like. So
Ooh,
Chris
a guy that
Jones,
I was hearing it would be
D-
kind of
DJ
interesting.
Reader is pretty good
Yeah,
too.
that's the guy I was just about to mention. I
Fletcher
mean,
Cox. Can you imagine putting him on and Devo on the same team?
he'd be back with his boy Hargrave though.
I think he's still got some gas in the tank though.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd take a cheap contract though for that.
Should have his age. Oh, it does have his age. 33.2. Yeah, that's not ideal. Daquan
DJ
Jones,
Reed.
defensive tackle from the Bills. He's pretty good.
Yeah. Christian Wilkins.
Yeah, he's real good for the Dolphins.
Ooh, Shelby Harris.
Now
Hmm.
he was like part of the Russ Wilson trade. He's kind
Oh,
of bounced
okay.
around. So he's all right. He's not bad. He's just I wouldn't mind getting back who we had a couple years ago. It's Hassan Ridgeway. He played really well for
Mm.
us. How old is he?
I thought he
29.
was like
So
hurt a lot though, or because he I think tore
yeah,
his pec or something, right?
yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah, that wouldn't be I wouldn't mind that. Ridgeway.
And
I wouldn't bring back. I wouldn't bring back Sebastian Joseph Day. Hmm.
Mo Hurst, he was playing well for the Browns for a minute, but then he got injured again, like always. Justin Madubuike is a free agent, but there's no way the Ravens are letting him walk.
Wait, sorry, who was it?
Madubuike?
I thought he was on the Ravens.
Yeah. That's what I said. There's no
Oh,
way they're
okay.
letting him walk.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying the Rams for
No,
a sec. That's one. Yeah,
no.
no. I think a guy that would make a lot of sense because they love to just go after these guys that haven't had good careers is he's a former, I think, former second round pick for the Texans. It's Ross Black now. I think he's like from TCU. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, maybe they gave him a chance.
I remember he was in Kinlaw's draft class.
Yep.
Let's see about running backs.
Kyle, you have running backs. I mean,
I know. He has, I know, but it would maybe to get one that he would actually trust to let CMC get some rest. Josh Jacobs, holy smokes, that's a huge one.
oh, I would not want him whatsoever.
Really? From the Raiders?
He's had one good year, and I'm just like, eh.
Derrick Henry, I don't think he's a fit.
Yeah.
Pollard would be nice.
A guy that'd be interesting, and I think he was with the.
Eckler, wow, that's big.
I think a guy that was with the Panthers. I think when CMC was there would be Demonte or Deontay Foreman, maybe.
Dante Foreman, yeah.
Yeah.
That's possible. Cordell Patterson's available, but I think we're a year or two too late on him.
He's
He
been
would
the
have
guy
been.
I actually wanted. You know what though? If they want to use him for special teams, maybe.
What about DeAndre Swift from the Eagles? He had a hell of a season, didn't
Eh,
he?
Damian Harris, maybe from the Bills. Mm.
J.K. Dobbins, but he's always hurt for the Ravens.
You know
Hey,
what would
Matt
be
Breida's available. Bring back Breida.
you know what would be actually
Kareem
fun
Hunt. Oh no,
if
he's
we
got the character issues. Never
if
mind.
we ran a 2 tight end set and we bring in Zach Ertz.
There you go. You don't think he's going to retire? I think he's going to retire.
How old is he?
Old enough.
It's so
Bring it
weird
up.
that he signed with the like practice squad with the Lions the week we were gonna play.
Yeah, but then he didn't ever play.
Yeah, but because he just signed. Oh, okay, he's 33. I mean, maybe he
It's
could be
about time.
solid on a team where he's sprinkled in.
Hunter Henry. I mean, he's got a lot to get out of New England with no quarterback there. Dalton Schultz. He'll probably stay in Houston. Gerald Everett's been playing well. Gesicki, no. Fant actually would be good for us.
Dalton
He can
Schultz,
block.
I don't see happening
He can
because he
block and
actually had a
catch.
really good year with the Texans.
Robert Tonyan's available, but I don't know that he's ever been the same since his ACL.
I don't know if we're really going to bring in a tight end. I think we might just go with our young guys, Braden Willis and Cameron Latou.
Ooh. Drop 2.
Is this the year we finally don't have to see Ross Dwelly on this team?
Nope. Don't bet your rent money.
I feel like you could put him on the practice squad, though. Nobody's going to pick him up. Nobody ever even picks him up. Like, he's always a free agent for so long anyways, and then the Niners are like, oh, we'll just bring you back.
Colby Parkinson's a free agent too. So both of the two of the 3 Seahawks tight ends.
I don't know. It's tough to know what they're going to do.
Tanner Hudson was playing well for the Bengals. I would love to get Tanner Hudson. He's not much of a blocker, but
didn't we sign a tight end? I think recently
he was on our team before he went back to the Bengals.
But I think we recently signed a guy to like a off-season contract to fill that 90 man. Yeah,
I think so.
Oh, Jake Tones. I don't know who.
Kuntz? No. That's Zach Kuntz.
It's like Toons. I don't know. Former looks like
right?
Bear or something. Yeah.
Huh.
I can put his name in the.
Oh, we might as well finish the exercise and do take a look at free agent wide receivers in case.
I hope we don't bring back Ray McLeod.
If Ayuk really does go become a Raider.
Okay, well, I need to ask you this. Do you think they're going to get rid of our special teams coordinator?
Yes. Brian Schneider, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
We should.
It's like the same thing every year, man. These guys don't seem to have the confidence.
There's some good wide receiver free agents. Mike Evans.
Ooh, you know who I would absolutely love for special teams?
Who?
Jamal Agnew.
Oh, because he's a kick returner too?
Yeah. He'd be a guy I think would be great. But knowing the Niners, they ain't gonna obviously be paying a special teams player a crazy amount. And Kyle Shanahan's like, oh, you need to play receiver too.
Calvin Ridley.
Did you see the guy sent you in the chat, the tight end I was talking about?
Oh, let's see. Sorry, I've been.
No.
Oh, yeah. Jake Tonges.
Yeah.
Tongies. I have no idea how to pronounce that.
That's I was like
I remember seeing that signing though.
Damn, I didn't realize the amounts of receivers there actually are this free agency.
Yeah, a ton.
Kendrick Bourne's a free agent.
KB, baby.
Yup. We're gonna bring Jennings back, you think?
I think we will, yeah.
I mean, he's restricted, so unless there's a price that somebody else gives him, which we cannot, even give, I think he'll be back.
Richie James is a free agent.
Yeah.
I like Chris Conley, honestly. I liked him in camp. I thought he would make the 53-man roster, and I'm saying he should have made the 53-man roster.
Yeah.
He really showed up for us at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Now you pretty much game-winning drive against the Packers, and some great special teams plays in the Super Bowl and a big catch in the Super Bowl. So
So now you know who I want as kick returner. Which I don't know if it'll happen, but it'd be nice.
Agnew, you're saying he fumbles a lot though.
He does. Oh,
Yeah, that's what I had Beerly Zach on the Beerly Boss from Beerly Football, and that was one of like my keys to the game was Jamal Agnew might fumble. He didn't fumble, but he like the Trevor Lawrence hit him in the hands and he tipped the ball up and it was intercepted on the sideline, maybe by Lenore.
I mean, looking at
Or
his
maybe by
career,
Gibson.
though, I'm looking at his career. Let's see, returning wise, he hasn't had that many fumbles. It looks like.
I think not on the returns when he played wide receiver.
Yeah, but even there, it looks like it's only been one.
Maybe only one lost, but I think there were a lot coughed up.
Okay.
But I guess I don't know.
Hmm.
I definitely count, fumbles even if they aren't lost because the
Yeah.
lost or not is a lot of luck typically.
Yeah, exactly.
Quez Watkins is available. I wouldn't mind him cheap for some cheap speed from the Eagles.
Yeah, yeah.
Donovan People-Jones, he's decent.
Yep. Just don't bring back Ray, please.
Especially not after he came out after the game and said, "Oh, I'm a playmaker. I was trying to make a play."
Hey, maybe we bring back the legend Trent Taylor. No, I'm just kidding.
No thanks. No, thank you.
There isn't really much else to talk about.
I am not watching the NBA All-Star Game.
Probably gonna try to watch the skills competition just because Pajemski's taking part in that, but I don't know if I'll end up watching the All-Star game.
Nice. Sharks game against VGK. Vegas Knights. Must be it. Should be fun. Enjoy. Hockey's fun to watch in person. I'm just not a big fan of watching on TV. It's too hard to see the puck.
Not really a hockey guy.
Sharks just broke my heart too many times.
Mm.
Kind of like what the Niners are doing right now, basically. Like
I also said it this
Playing
week.
well.
I'm like, I don't even care if the Warriors or Giants won any more championships because I'm just like, I've seen them win. I just want that Niners one now.
No doubt about it. Well, it seems like we're about an hour into here and we've covered most of our bases.
Yep.
So maybe good time to just thank everybody who stopped by.
Yes.
And obviously thank Anshul. That's at 49er Media on Twitter and X, and at 49er Media. There's a little bit on the top of it.
Podcast. Yeah.
Podcast.
49er Media Podcast on YouTube.
On YouTube. And make sure you guys go like and subscribe. He just restarted. So get those subs up, everybody. Help him out. I'll just say peace and go Niners.
Go Niners.